Evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are when you see this video. It is August 2nd, 2025, but I am actually making this for tomorrow morning so that you all can watch then. This is a little bit on the Greater Israel Project, what's going on with Netanyahu's group on this, and also the World War III issue. This is from Dialogue Works. It's something that Colonel Wilkerson says, and I want to share that with you so that you can see what he says on this issue of both those issues. Hold on.
Starting this because we can reach more people. And Larry, let me start with the summit, the SCO summit, in which we saw India getting closer to Russia and China. And how did you find the atmosphere of the summit?
I think this is an indicator, probably one of the most powerful one we've seen in an instant, as it were, of what I've been talking about, where power's moving inexorably toward the east. I read an essay this morning that a gentleman had written, Russian, I believe, and he encapsulated almost everything I've been saying in a very short space, maybe 2 or 3 pages. And then Ray McGovern came back and said, but this is all pre-summit, not post-summit, meaning Alaska. And so I had to go back and say, sorry, gentlemen, I know the original author of the article understands this. This doesn't have anything to do with pre or post summit. This is reality. And of course, his major point is we're already engaged in World War III. We have several theaters of that war ongoing right now, the most prominent of which are Ukraine and the one that's going to open up very soon in Iran. And all of us who've been talking about Iran, who know Iran a little bit more, and a lot, realize that Netanyahu has no choice. He is going to war with Iran. And so that's going to open up again. And then you could consider what's happening in Gaza and elsewhere in the area as another theater of this war already ongoing, because Israel is not going to be content. This is an age-old Zionist wish that is now coming true. They realize Netanyahu, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, and a host of others realize they will never have another opportunity like this. You know, Nima, they tried this in 1956. That's what Britain and France and Israel's invasion of the Suez Canal area was all about. Eisenhower smelled it out and put a stop to it. They haven't had a chance since to go whole hog. The 67 war was close. The 73 war was closer. But then Carter stepped in and Sadat stepped in, and that sort of put a brake on it. And then you had a sort of peace party in Israel, Labor Party, a liberal party, if you will. But that was all a facade, really. The Likud, the supreme Zionists, were always lurking in the background. They've been there since 1948. God forbid, Ben Gurion was one of them. And so now this is it. They've made more progress than they've ever made before. They kill more people than they've ever killed before. They've destroyed more of their, quote, enemies, unquote, than they've ever killed before. They are not going to stop. They're not going to stop until they have established what the Zionist plan is for a greater Israel. That's Lebanon, that's Syria, that's part of Iraq, that's Jordan, that's part of Egypt. It might even be part of East Africa. That's their ultimate plan. You can't stop. So it is very much a theater in this war, too. So you've got that. You've got the potential theater with Iran, which I think will develop because that's part of the plan, too. And then you've got Ukraine and North, and all the way to the Arctic, because it's brewing there. This latest report that came out about the Arctic and about the continental shelf in particular, and who has the most accessible and readily available continental shelf? Russia. And how much methane and oil is there prospectively? It matches almost the Caspian Sea and the bottom of the sea, where there's 100 years, according to some oil experts, of oil that could fuel all of Central Asia, including China.
Let me just add here what's being said here regarding what he said. He said that Netanyahu and the host of people he mentioned, they never had they're not going to have another, or never had another they won't have another opportunity to do this greater Israel thing. I'm not really surprised at all. That's what I expect them to have. That's what I was thinking a few weeks ago. I thought the exact same thing. They're not going to stop now. They're gonna feel like, oh, we've made it. We've gone this far. We're gonna finish. We're not gonna just give in. We're gonna continue, and which is of course terrible when you think about it, and the destruction that's coming. But this was a kind of no-brainer. Even though it's a horrible and evil thing to do, I'm sure a lot of people knew who know about this greater Israel thing, knew that they were going to be doing this. I mean, that's been their plan, as he said, as Colonel Wilkerson said, for decades. So, he mentions Ukraine, Iran, the whole thing. Like McGregor said, it's going to be he said September. He's been saying this for the past few months, McGregor said. And that around September, that gives them time to reload get themselves back up to par on weapons and fix all their buildings that were ruined, and, just be ready for the next attack. And as you know, in the prophecies, there's that attack mentioned. So anyway, this is why they won't stop. Let's continue on what McGregor's saying here. I mean, not McGregor. I keep saying that. Wilkerson. Colonel Wilkerson says.
So the war's already on.
Yeah.
The war is on. The theaters are ongoing. They're open. They're hot. They're featuring people dying every day. And we're all sitting around wondering where this is all going to go. And this gentleman in this article says, and I think he's right, it's going to world war. It's going to world war because you are not going to be able, the empire, the American empire, let's be explicit. The American empire, in its dying days, is not going to be able to arrest this inexorable, inevitable shift of major economic, military, financial, cultural, informational, intelligence, you name it, power from the west to the east. And that SCO summit, as it were, was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. How many people did you have at that summit in just 3 leaders? Just think about it. How much power did you have at that summit? How much money did you have at that summit? Just in 3 leaders. In India and China alone, you have 2+ billion people. And now we know there are probably 65 to 66 countries that are all kind of looking around as to whether or not they shouldn't have something like the group that China and India and Russia, the BRICS, and other things like that.
Yeah, SCO summit, like SCO.
Yeah, this is the future. This is not the past. This is the future. The past is Washington, D.C., and increasingly, because of their stupidity, Brussels, Paris, Berlin, and other European capitals, and certainly the EU. Certainly the EU, which is stuck in the mud so badly that I don't think even if they got rid of the leadership tomorrow morning, they'd be able to get out of that mud.
Okay, let's remember. I listened to this whole thing about this summit. It was quite amazing. They were Putin and Xi and Modi were just like old friends or something. You look at them, and I listened to an analyst talking about how Modi and Putin were holding hands. Now, people find that strange here in the U.S., but that is a cultural thing, especially in Asia. So apparently in India as well. And so they it's a sign of friendship. It's much more than, as I heard someone say today, much more than a transaction, like a financial transaction. It's much deeper than that, and this is what is being fostered here between Putin and Modi, and then and even Xi. And so they were even making some jokes, cracking some jokes amongst each other, and it was quite amazing. What was very interesting also, I had heard, is that the leaders of the delegates or whatever of Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Turkey were there. Even Erdogan, I think, as well. I would assume that they were maybe talking about the Zangezur corridor issue. I don't know, but it was quite interesting. I agree. He made a good point. Wilkerson was talking about how this is the future. This is now, actually, in the future. It is now and the future. Washington, D.C. is the past. America is, as we have been saying for the past, probably people have been saying this for the past decade, that it's a declining empire. It's kind of going, down like a sinking ship. And let's remember that with all these tariffs that Trump's been doing, especially what he did against India, and, India had a choice between do what we say or be punished, or someone who offered beneficial ties and not bullying. But let's remember the most important thing, at least to me, the most obvious thing to this whole deal with the Russian oil and India. Let's remember that, as I showed you that map one time, who is closest to India? What that continent right there, the Asian continent. Who's above India? China. Who's above China? I think Mongolia is up there. But then who's above that? Russia. So again, why would India go across an ocean to get more expensive oil with bullies and people going to punish them if they don't do what they are told? Why would they go to them instead of the countries right there offering cheaper, more affordable gas, and it's closer, so it's easier to get, and they're not being aggressive or mean or bullying. They're just offering, and they're acting like normal human beings. They're able to talk to people without it being, without you being mean and crude and rude and acting like you're king of the world. So I found that information interesting. He said we're in World War III, as we all know it is, through the prophecies. It's we've been in phase 1 or 2 for quite a while. We'll see what happens this month regarding the Iran-Israel thing coming back for a second round. Most likely. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what if McGregor's prediction is correct. But it sure seems like it's going that way sooner rather than later. I just wanted to share that portion with you. I found it interesting. Hope it was beneficial. I hope it was informative for you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel. I hope you have a blessed night. Until next time.